All right, welcome to Speak for Yourself. I'm Jason Whitlock. That's Marcellus Wiley, that dude.
Yes, sir.
Coming up, we'll tell you if the Rams just gave Tom Brady some bulletin board material.
And I've got another installment of the Emmy Award-winning Dat Dude's Dude.
Da-da-da-da.
You're welcome. But we start every day with a Whitlocks. What you got today, big dog?
Dallas Cowboys slot receiver Cole Beasley is interpreting the New England Patriots' continued success the same way I am. These undersized white slot receivers are a lot more valuable than the credit we give them. Oh, you mad because I reference race? You're uncomfortable now?
Yeah.
Get over it. We sit here day after day, year after year, talking about black quarterbacks being undervalued. Well, Julian Edelman and Chris Hogan are undervalued too. That's an obvious lesson from these playoffs and the Patriots dynasty. The lesson is so obvious that Goldilocks Beasley piped off on Twitter yesterday about the way he's been used in Dallas. Swole Beasley engaged in a back and forth with fans over Twitter about his impending free agency and tweeted this truth bomb. Honestly, the front office pushes who they want to get the ball to. I haven't been a huge priority in that regard. Maybe that will change, but I'm not sure. More balls come my way in 2-minute drill where nothing is planned. I don't need the ball all the time, just more than 3 targets a game. Is 5 to 8 targets a game at least too much to ask? Now, Beasley never said a word about Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan, or the New England Patriots, but Beasley isn't blind. He's looking at guys who look just like him tear it up in the postseason. He saw Tom Brady hug Hogan after the Patriots beat the Chiefs and heard Brady mock the analysts who never give the Patriots skills players any credit.
I'm too old. You're too slow. We got no skill players. We got no defense. We got nothing.
Let's don't play dumb here. When you see somebody who looks exactly like you do something you aspire to do, it inspires and emboldens you. Cole Beasley is screaming to NFL executives, I can do what Edelman and Hogan do. Sign me. Show us the money. He's also telling Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, y'all don't appreciate me. Y'all take me for granted. Y'all think Amari Cooper can do more for Dak Prescott than I can. I'm not mad at Cole Beasley. He has a point here. In the new NFL, the league that spreads the field with 3, 4, even 5 receivers, it might be time to rethink who can and can't be number 1 receivers. How important is it to have a receiver who can take a top off for defense? Kansas City's Tyreek Hill can take the top off. That's great. Julian Edelman can get you 12 yards on 3rd down and will take the hit from the safety to secure the catch. What's more important, changing field position once or twice a game or moving the chains 4 or 5 times a game? There are no diva receivers in this year's Super Bowl. None. This past weekend, the Rams made Michael Thomas disappear and the Patriots put Tyreek Hill in witness protection. Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham Jr. didn't even make the playoffs. Cole Beasley has every reason to beat his chest, toot his horn. Yeah, he's acting like a diva slot receiver. He's doing it because the media won't address what's obvious. The NFL has changed. The fastest, most talented receiver isn't the most valuable. It's the little dude in the slot, the blitz beater, the precise route runner, the guy who will go down the seam and take the hit. That's a quarterback's best friend. Antonio Brown and OBJ are headaches with very short postseason resumes. NFL executives and scouts need to put their stopwatches down and reevaluate how they assess the wide receiver position in the NFL. All right, joining the desk now are Fox Sports NFL analysts Eric Mangini and TJ Houshmandzadeh. Marcellus, of course, I'm going to start with you. Do I and Cole Beasley have a point here? And again, we talked about this some yesterday, but I'm going at it again today. I think these white slot receivers are just undervalued in the modern NFL.
I just thought you would go home and sleep this off and wake up and be sane. God, and we're going racial here. All right, let's do it. Be very careful, Jason Whitlock, of making the exceptions the rule. Be very careful of thinking of the white phone booth slot receiver from New England on the Patriots as thinking that that guy could be league-wide, because the evidence shows, no, he can't. You talk about a Julian Edelman. You talk about a Chris Hogan, who are in the Super Bowl right now, doing amazing for the Patriots, and out there exempling what you're saying. Hey, these guys deserve more touches, more value, more opportunities. No, they don't. They do in New England, not outside the league. Here's the examples. There have been 2 cases that raised their hand and said, you know what, let me test this free agency. Let me be out there on a different team, and let's see my value. Latest example was Danny Amendola. Anybody? Danny Amendola? Hello, hello, hello. Sucker, dude went out there with the Miami, put up 500 yards and 1 touchdown. Oh,
Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill. Okay, well, let's go. I'm glad you said that because there was one great by the name of Wes Welker. Wes Welker, the same one that was with the Chargers and the Dolphins, went to New England, in 7 years, had 5-6 years with 1,200 plus yards. Insane. Wes Welker, next level household name. Decides to go, let me go to Denver Broncos. Who was the quarterback then? It ain't Ryan Tannehill. Who was it?
Peyton Manning, I don't know.
Yeah, it was
concussion issues.
No, not this year. Not this year. Not the first year he got there. You know what happened? He got with Peyton Manning, who was a league MVP, threw 55 touchdowns and 5,500 yards. You would think Wes Welker, oh, he really about to eat, right? Production dropped in half. You know why? Because you ain't in New England, bro. You a system player. As you're talking about the white slot receiver of New England, stay white slot in New England. And as soon as you leave that system, not one person has shown that they can go out there and be a number 1 in any other system.
I say change your system and find you a Cooper Kupp the same way Sean McVay, the next Bill Belichick, has done, and Jared Goff had great success with him. These guys are undervalued. This league has changed. The way they play offense has changed. Taking the top off the defense, I just don't think is as important.
Well, for me, I was a slot receiver, and so I always thought we were undervalued when I was playing. So
you black.
But you go to New England, I 100% agree. This only works in New England.
Cooper Kupp worked very well out here in Los Angeles.
This only is going to work in New England. But if you look at it, they had Troy Brown before these guys. Then they had Deion Branch. Then it became the wide receiver with Wes Welker and Julian Edelman. I trained with Julian Edelman when I was playing. Julian Edelman almost had me kill myself at times because I didn't want him to outwork me. That's how hard he worked. He can play. I take nothing away from him. But these guys, the common denominator is number 12. That's why they have success, is because Tom Brady is throwing on the ball. They're smart enough to understand what the defense is doing. They know how to sit in zone. They know to run away in man. They know where the guys are supposed to be defensively, so they know what they're going to do on offense. Tom knows they know this, and they basically looking at the game from the same set of eyes. That's why they have this type of success. Cole Beasley, you had 65 catches last year. That's not a bad year for a slot receiver. If Amari Cooper isn't getting the ball, Jerry Jones should be saying something. He should be telling them Amari Cooper needs to get the ball. I understand your gripes, but Marcellus is 100% correct. These guys aren't working. If Julian Edelman, he was a free agent. I wouldn't say New England lowballed him, but he didn't get paid per se because his value to other teams is not the same as it is in New England.
Well, usually what would happen is the teams that we played against, the players that gave us problems were players that were targeted in free agency. And Wes Welker came up because the head coach had been hired.
I gave y'all problems. What happened with me?
Get him, TJ.
So Wes Welker comes up, is a casualty of a new head coach, and he had given us tons of problems in Miami, and then he was brought in the system and had tons of success. And he moved on much later in his career, so I think it was a different time frame. There'd been a lot of production in between that, a lot of hits, a lot of mileage on those tires. I don't think it's a function of black or white or any of that stuff. Troy Brown was very successful in that system as well. The idea of a slot receiver being a number 1 receiver, it's hard to push that forward because you want a number 1 receiver to play outside or inside. You want a number 1 receiver to be able to be effective at all different points along the line of scrimmage, where those slot guys typically can only play in that area. When you try to push them outside, they're not the same guy. In terms of Cole's argument, I think it hurts his free agency when you start talking about I wasn't targeted enough. Is there some truth to that? Yeah, there is some truth, and you know this too, that offensive coordinators will design plays for certain guys, especially high-maintenance guys, to get them in the game, so they're not complaining the whole early part of the game. There's an element to that. But he was targeted 87 times last year. But I'm no math major.
That's a
but
lot.
That's more than
a lot of that was
That's
early.
more than 3 a game.
That was early before Amari Cooper got there. And Cole Beasley's point, again, Cole Beasley, who knows if he could go to New England or maybe he's auditioning or trying to campaign to get to Pittsburgh. Get AB, let me be the slot receiver for Big Ben. Who knows what kind of success he would have. I just think the game has changed, and you can't remove color from this. The game has changed that the slot receiver is just a lot more valuable than he used to be. And that's what I think. When I look at what Cole Beasley's trying to say and why he's trying to raise his hand and draw attention to himself and why he wants people to talk about what New England is doing, what Cooper Kupp did before he got hurt, what Eric Decker did in Denver with Peyton Manning, he's trying to get people to understand the slot receiver position is far more valuable than it had been in the previous NFL when you just set a Randy Moss outside and that was the end-all, be-all. That's just not the case anymore with this spread offense.
Well, you know what? Numbers speak louder than words in football. So, Cole Beasley, I understand the PR campaign right now, but the numbers don't say anything in terms of you being the number 1 wide receiver or we should appreciate you more. 1, the Dallas Cowboys were losing games this year when he was the number 1 wide receiver. 2, if you want to look at him in terms of being the number 1 wide receiver, Odell Beckham Jr. and Antonio Brown would get cut if they put up Cole Beasley's best numbers, which if you want to look at his best numbers, 5 touchdowns, 800 yards, that's cut bait for Odell and Antonio Brown.
If it ain't cut bait, it's pay cut check bait. You for sure taking a pay cut.
Yeah, but
So
let's go deeper into his point, which is also true, that Eric knows this as a head coach, and y'all know it as players. The front office does sit there and say, hey, man, we paying this dude
100%.
a lot of money.
100%.
So his numbers better justify it. Cole Beasley, that's part of his point. Yeah, you can look at Antonio and Odell Beckham, but are they bending over backwards to get these guys the ball? Are they
100.
throwing to him in double coverage? Are they doing things that compromise the
But
team's
they're doing
success?
that because they've shown that it warrants that.
No.
Not always, TJ.
Yeah.
They're doing it because they complain so much
Yes.
that they come in and they're not getting the ball.
But this is the
there's an
thing,
element of
Coach.
that too.
If it's like you raise a kid, when you get these guys that start getting attitudes, if you nip it in the butt right now, it's over. But as soon as you start letting them do it, it's no going back. And
Once
that's
you
the
give AB $70 million, there's no going back.
No, there's-
Once you give Odell Beckham Jr. that money, there's no going back. What Cole Beasley's trying to say, and what I'm saying is, some people around the look at New England. Their receivers aren't divas. The Los Angeles Rams don't have any divas. The ball goes where it needs to go for what's best for the team. You get these diva receivers, and you overpay them. They start complaining. The front office starts, man, we paying this dude a lot of money. And the next thing you know, you're doing things that don't make sense in terms of wins and losses. It makes sense in terms of dollars and cents and shutting this person up.
It's interesting that we have 2 discussions going on. One, are you deserving of top dollar, which I don't think you're saying Cole Beasley is deserving, right? I hope not.
No. What I'm saying
he's
is
not.
Cole Beasley's point is if y'all played the right system, what New England's doing, I'm still have value. He even said in
But
here.
everybody can't beat Tom Brady. That's the
even-
problem.
People can run that system. Jared Goff and Los Angeles are mimicking it right now.
Yeah, but Cooper
their
Kupp,
whole culture.
let's not exaggerate Cooper Kupp either. Like, Cooper Kupp is amazing at what he does, but we have a limit. We have a cap of expectations for you. Cooper Kupp has not broke 1,000 yards. Cooper Kupp hasn't had over 6
Listen
touchdowns.
to my point and Cole Beasley's deeper point that we didn't get to.
Okay.
He said it wasn't about money. He said in his tweets, he's not complaining about it.
What is it about? Opportunity?
He's talking about use the right system. Look at the Rams culture. And Todd Gurley saying, you know what, I didn't even deserve to play. I wasn't playing that well. That's a mimic of the Patriots.
But
And let's
theoretically-
start doing things that are best for the team
But technically-
and not for the individuals. And these diva wide receivers drive a lot of the negative energy and doing what's best for the individual rather than the team. Cole Beasley's trying to say, I'm one of these guys like Edelman and Hogan. I'm going to do what's best for the team. I have value.
But technically, technically, if you think about what you just said, that is about money because he wants more targets, which will in turn make
Translate
him
to
more money because he will have more statistics.
Everybody wants money.
And
It's
so
America.
it's about that. When you get 87 targets in one season, that's a lot.
And
that's a lot.
What was the mantra? What was the narrative about the Dallas Cowboys before Amari Cooper got there? The receivers can't get separation. That included you, Cole
And
Beasley.
Dak Prescott said, we don't need a number one receiver until
they got one.
They needed a number one receiver.
And then they were 8-3 with that number one wide receiver. It's just amazing to me. Being a backup for 3 of my first years in the league, it's amazing when you do a little, but expectations are low. They make that seem like it's a lot. So I would play 15 plays, and then let me luck up and get a sack. Oh, my God, Wiley's coming, Wiley's coming. Then I went out there and started. And let you only get like a sack here or there. They're like, oh, man, get the money back. And you're like, wait a minute. My numbers are still better than when I was in there in these little doses. You got to understand, it's this kind of fluctuation in expectations. And Cole Beasley, love the fact that you have cover because of your expectations. They're low. If you ever got into a number one mindset and a number one expectation, Cole Beasley will be jumping team from team because there's no way that he can go out there and put up those numbers.
But in fairness to Cole Beasley, he has a higher catch percentage than Julian Edelman does. So he's targeted, he's got a 70+% catch percentage, which is higher than Edelman. So he would have, based off that, more catches if he was targeted that much. In terms of the Rams being like the Patriots, I don't agree with that at all. There's so many guys on that team that would never be part of the Patriots. And you can say that he said, I wasn't playing well and that's okay. Yeah, he's saying that because they won. If they had lost, I think it would have been a radically different
now, hold on.
different
they want
tune
me to go, but when
about
you
his
say
forward.
they got players that wouldn't be on the Patriots, I just start thinking about Aaron Hernandez and go, I don't know anybody on the rank.
Spikes.
Albert Hainsworth, LeGarrette Blount, Ocho Cinco. You know, I'm a candidate.
Yeah,
Cole Beasley, he go to New England.
He'll
be a household name.
Those are one-offs, and when you've got a locker room that's set up a certain way, you can handle one or two.
Cole Beasley, get the Foxborough, bruh.
Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, options, ETFs, and cryptos, all commission-free. They strive to make financial services work for everyone, not just the wealthy. They provide a non-intimidating way for stock market newcomers to invest for the first time with true confidence. It's simple and intuitive, with a clear design of data presented in an easy-to-digest way. What are the values of the Robinhood app, you may ask? The design and ease of use. It has easy-to-understand charts and market data so you can place a trade in just 4 taps on your smartphone. Robinhood's web platform also lets you view stock collections and analyst ratings of buy, hold, and sell for every stock. Also, you can learn by doing. Learn how to invest as you build your portfolio. Discover new stocks and track favorite companies with your personalized newsfeed. You can even set custom notifications for price movements so you never miss the right moment to invest. Robinhood is giving listeners a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help build your portfolio. Sign up at speak.robinhood.com. That's speak, S-P-E-A-K, .robinhood.com. Time for Dat Dude's Dudes. Marcellus, what you got?
Got a lot of love for the big uglies down there in the trenches, like Whitlock, like me. Let's go get it. It's Dat Dude's Dudes time, and let's start with the number 3 Dat Dude of the week. Patriots DN Trey Flowers. Trey dreaming out there. Trey Flowers gets to Patrick Mahomes for a huge loss to drive KC out of field goal range. Huge one. Flowers lined up Mitchell Schwartz. Ooh, Flowers sells the inside move by looking inside and giving him that little head fake inside there. Flowers tries to swat Schwartz. Schwartz is thinking, hey, man, I got good position on you right now.
Great
hey,
position.
you're blocked, dude. Like, this is a wrap because he's expecting his quarterback to be behind him. But Trey Flowers like, let me sell this. You behind me, right? You got me, Patrick. Uh-huh. Trey like, nah. I got visions of grandeur. I see Patrick Mahomes. He is not behind you. So now let me sell the inside move to you because I know what you're thinking. And look at his body position. It's all outside. Oh, Mitchell Schwartz, look out. He is going around the corner. Your quarterback is bailing, but not bailing fast enough. And now Trey Flowers gets the easy sack. Trey Flowers, number 3, that dude of the week. Now let's get out of the trenches. Let's go to the running back position because this was an amazing block right here. Saints running back Mark Ingram, a Bayou block right there. Good Lord, did y'all see that cut block right there? Mark Ingram makes a huge block on Dante Fowler. Let's show you how it happens. Fowler's not even ready. He ain't got his helmet buckled up. Then he obviously is getting off late. And now in this position, when you see the cut block coming, you know what you're supposed to do? Like an anvil. You're supposed to push your hands down on the shoulder pads and clear your feet. He does none of that, gets caught up in the Fosbury flop. Look at this, just damn clear 6'7". So now you find yourself on the ground, on your back, and everything hurts. Tell him, Ezel.
Oh, I'm hurt. Oh, my neck, my back, my neck and my back. Oh.
Breeze easily finds Garrett Griffin for the touchdown. Do better, Dante Fowler. Mark Ingram, you're our number 2, that dude of the week. Now let's go to the number 1, that dude of the week. Rams defensive tackle, Ndamukong Suh. Breeze casa es Suh's casa. I like that one right there. Ndamukong Suh gets by Andrews Pete and brings down Drew Brees. Now let's check out Andrew Pete's stance. I don't like it. The inside foot is up, outside foot is back, but you're trying to come down on the shade. Oh, that's not going to be pretty. So when you're bad stance, Suh knows that Max Unger, the center, is going to slide. He's like, Max Unger is not going to double team me. He's going to slide protection against Aaron Donald. And yes, he is. So when you see Aaron Donald on the other side, and Ndamukong Suh is smart, using that math in his head. This is when geometry meets physics. I'm going to use your bad stance and your overprotection against you. Ndamukong Suh clubs right now. Drew Brees is like, damn, which Ndamukong Suh is going to hit me, though? This one? Oh, the one that stomps people out? The one that's been penalized the most by all D linemen? No, hit me in the head. Oh, please, new NFL rules. Help me out. Don't do it, Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh's like, nah, dog. I lost too much money over the years. So lay you down real nice right here on this mattress. Real soft, real gentle, but it's still. Ndamukong Suh, our number 1, that dude of the week. Got him.
Good choice there. All right, thanks, Marcellus. That was awesome. Time for a big story. Let's move to the Super Bowl,
Yes, sir.
where the Patriots and the Rams will face off next Sunday in Atlanta. The chip on Tom Brady's shoulder is bigger than ever, with the quarterback making it clear he's on a mission to prove all the doubters wrong. But apparently, even that wasn't enough to stop Rams safety John Johnson from opening his mouth about Brady.
He's an all-time great. He's been in the Super Bowl, like 9 times? So, he's beatable, though. So, we just can't go in there with the mindset of, it's Tom Brady. Like, he's definitely beatable, so we're going to go in there and give him a go.
I just wouldn't have done it. I just would have left off the last part. I would have never said Tom Brady's beatable. I would have just talked about how great he was. Tom Brady has made it clear he looks for any little slight, any little doubt from his opponent. Why give him any bulletin board material?
Because it doesn't matter. You're assuming that Tom Brady needs some more motivation. Let me give you a little understanding of what Tom Brady is feeling right now in this moment. Motivation at capacity. So no matter what you try to add to it, I'm already fully motivated. I'm ready for this moment. And this is actually a smart play. 1, he gives full respect to Tom Brady, the great. But 2, he takes a play out of the playbook that won against Tom Brady and the Patriots last year. Example, Malcolm Jenkins, before facing Tom Brady in the Super Bowl last year, says, and I quote, greatest quarterback of all time, but that doesn't mean that he's unbeatable. There go that word again. We've got a destination that we're geared to. No matter who's in front of us, we've got somewhere to go. It worked last year. Tom Brady put on his pants the same way everybody else does. Eli Manning sitting there like, I ain't got to say it. I just do it. I beat Tom Brady every time I see him in the Super Bowl. So never scared, man. Go out there and just play your game. And if you got to talk it, as long as you walk it.
Give him nothing.
I mean, for me, anybody that plays sports is beatable. So
Thank you.
all he said was, should he have said it? The coach McVay is probably going to ask him, why'd you say that? But everybody's beatable. It is what it is. The Super Bowl is motivation in itself enough. That's enough motivation. I don't mind it. Now, John Johnson, go play well. Go play well and show them why you said in that interview that Tom Brady's unbeatable. I'm sure McVay doesn't like it, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, this is pretty tame in the idea of trash talk. He recognizes how great Tom is, and then he recognizes that he is beatable, and I think that's important because there's a lot of times in New England where we'd face teams and you knew you had an advantage just by showing up in the uniform. And there was a sense from the other team that they were at a distinct disadvantage because of what we had done. So I like the fact that they're establishing, yeah, we recognize your greatness, but it doesn't mean that it's going to continue through us.
And you know what I love? How you reference the uniform. And we've all been there in the stretch line, and especially when you're on the road and that team comes out their locker room. And there are, like, mental attributes you place on the team, and you got to be careful what you do. So every time we play the Patriots, you're sitting there like, disciplined. They're not going to beat themselves. You play the Raiders, you're like, talented. They're going to beat themselves. Just stay in the game. Like, weird things like that, because there are always two scoreboards. The one that shows the points and the one that shows the momentum and what your thought process looks like. Don't beat yourself before you get into the game. That's why I like these comments.
I'm going to tell you the other reason why I don't like him, because I think it reveals an overconfidence from John Johnson, because I think his statement is soaked in truth. He watched the tape. He saw the game. Tom Brady, you know, I hope he's not watching, but he is beatable. He should have got beat last week. He should have thrown 3 interceptions. Yeah. And so, to me, John Johnson, aware of that, and that's the conversation perhaps a bit among their defensive players. Like, man, look, man, if the Chiefs had D Ford stays on side, Brady throws 3 interceptions. Yeah. Let's just don't give it to him the way the Chiefs did, and we'll be fine here. A bit of overconfidence, I think, from the Rams.
Real question here. Are you a person that believes in 110%? Because
yeah, I do believe it.
And that's BS. I hate when people 110%. Dog,
I do.
Every time you go out there, you fully motivated. You're trying to go get the incentives are $2 grand for you to sit there and say, oh, you said this, so now it's time to really prepare.
110%.
You really?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, you should always look at anybody you're going against, you're competing against in flaw of instead of in all of. And so always look at them in flaw of instead of in all of, because if you look at them in all of, you're going to be intimidated. The first thing he does is going to mess up your psyche, so I don't mind it at all. You just have to live by that, and anytime you compete, I'm looking at you in flaw of instead of in all.
I love that.
We're joined now by NBA champion Eddie House. All right, let's move to college basketball, where Jay-Z was courtside to watch Zion Williamson last night.
Oh.
And the Duke star didn't disappoint, shooting a perfect 9 for 9 from the field in the first half before finishing with 25.7 boards and 7 assists in an easy win over Pitt. The hype around Zion coming into this season was massive, and he continues to live up to it game after game. I think the guys can't miss. I think he's the next iteration of Charles Barkley. I think that he will adapt to the NBA very quickly, and then I think 4 or 5 years in, could be the best player in the NBA.
I'm with you there. Even though there's always anxiety when you talk about bully ball players, like with that type of body, using a lot of their brute strength against players their age but not as developed as them, because when you get into the NBA, it takes man strength beyond the weight room, and you got to have your man bones. But Zion Williamson really silences that anxiety when you look at his footwork and you look at what he can do outside even the painted areas. So I say he's can't miss. He may not be the #1 overall pick because his teammate, R.J. Barrett, is next level as well, but can't miss. I'm with you, Whitlock, on this one.
I agree with you guys with that. Can't miss as far as the things that I see that translate. You hit on it, his footwork. That's going to translate to the next level. His strength, that's going to translate to the next. And his athletic ability. The majority of his shots are coming into the paint real close, right there in the restricted area. But he can work on his game. But the thing that's a question for me is he's 280 right now, right? When you get older, you naturally put on weight.
Right.
So if he naturally put on weight, where's he going to go? To 300? He's going to have to try to shed some of this weight because the way he plays at 300 pounds, I don't think his joints will be, or 280, continuous pounding on them joints at that weight, I think is not going to be good for him moving forward. But he's going to be able to get his jump shot off when he wants to because he's going to work on that because he's so strong. He's quick. He's going to be quicker than the guys that are guarding him, and he's going to be stronger than anybody that you try to switch on him that's quicker than him. So I think it's going to work out, and I think you have to – he's going to be a top 3 pick. My pick, though, from that team, I like Cam Reddish because shooting is where the NBA is going right now, and I think he's their best shooter.
Why I disagree with you and why I think he's the #1 pick and why I think he'll be special that people aren't talking about. He plays the game with a passion and a joy that I think is uncommon. I think a lot of guys love the game of basketball, but play it because they're really good at it. I think this dude has that little extra it quality factor, an energy, a zest for the game that I think will make a difference, and I think it'll get the weight off of him. Probably not in his first year, but I think by his second, third year in the NBA, he will play at 260 and he'll be just fine.
Well, I agree with that, that he'll play. He could still lose, but will he lose any strength if he loses his weight? That's one question that I would wonder. Is he going to gain quickness and maybe lose a little bit of his strength? Give and take. I don't think he'll be able to do both, gain quickness and gain strength at the same time while he's losing weight. You know, especially he's been used to playing at this weight forever. So he is infectious, though. The way he plays, everybody feeds off of him. And it doesn't necessarily have to be one of his monster, crazy 360 dunks. It's block shots he's feeding. I mean, this kid can play basketball. That's the thing. He's just a freak of nature as far as his body. We've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, I think Instagram agrees with both of y'all. 2 million followers and growing. That means he's captivating. That means he's box office. You got to respect a guy like that. Going through the process as we did, you know, from high school to college, and you're trying to work out, but it's a different program. Like, no matter how much you work out in college, it's a lot more effort, it's a lot more programming, but it's not necessarily precision. It's not necessarily the best thing for you. You get to the NBA, you get to the NFL, they're looking at you, and they're going to work on that body. And if he takes it seriously, looks like he does, he's going to be able to shed that weight, because a lot of that is just, you know, Pizza Hut downstairs in the dorm and stuff like that.
Baby fat.
Baby fat, you know,
It
just
is.
lifestyle
He's
fat.
still a teenager.
Right.
Yeah, so he's going to eat better, have more money, and take more focus on his body, and I think he's going to be
All right, he
amazing.
said something else interesting last night, according to the Sporting News, some other places. Zion Williamson talking about Jay-Z after the game and how excited he was that Jay-Z was at the game. He called Jay-Z the GOAT of rappers, and I assume that you two would have an opinion on that. Agree with Zion, and bear with us, audience. I'm just sorry, these guys, I know Marcellus and Eddie being from the Bay, I know y'all got an opinion. Jay-Z the GOAT?
I mean, for longevity and consistent excellence, yeah, but it's kind of like the Kobe argument when you say that Kobe's the GOAT. All I say is, what year was Kobe the best player in the NBA and it wasn't a shared experience? What year was Jay-Z the best rapper and there was no question that he was? And I'm like, good luck finding that year. And if you do, how long did that last? So for me, it's weird. It's logically, how are you the GOAT, but you've never been the number one by yourself
the GOAT.
consistently? So I'm kind of with you. Like,
I'm with y'all that he's not the GOAT. Well, we kind of from the old school. We cut from the same cloth when it comes down to the hip-hop game. But from this perspective, you can call him the GOAT. There's not been anybody in the rap game that has done what he has done, as far as on stage and off stage. Things he's done with Duce, the title, all the money he's made. He's moving close to $1 billion, and that's all from hip hop. So if you look at it in that perspective, take that lane, he has to be the GOAT as far as the best rapper to come out and do the best with his platform that he had and make the most of his opportunities.
Totally disagree with
But
you there.
rapper-wise, who made more money than Jay-Z
yeah,
as a
he's
rapper?
got to be the greatest. If
Yeah.
all encompassing.
Yeah, if you take
I
everything.
thought Dr. Dre was a billionaire.
Okay, I get, but he's
But
not
he ain't a
a
rapper, he's a
ain't the same
producer.
level rapper.
He's a producer.
But
We
okay,
said rapper.
Okay, I give you some.
Hey, Dr. Dre is the greatest producer of all time. There you
no,
go.
no, no,
So
no.
he's a GOAT on that.
Whoa. Does Jay-Z have a better album than The Chronic?
No. But is The Chronic not Dr. Dre? Dr. Dre presents The Chronic with Snoop, with everybody, Corrupt, RBX,
Right.
Daz. Like, good Lord, it wasn't like Dre was like, yo, let me hold it down by myself. Jay-Z has done that. But I'm with you. If you want to say all
Jay-Z
things,
turns water into wine, man. Anybody he touches goes triple,
Dre,
quadruple.
Dre.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Dre.
Freudian slip.
Yeah, that-
Look at you. You got caught.
Yeah.
Right there. You right? Hey, for me, he's not my favorite rapper. That's Andre 3000 or Jerry Curl, Ice Cube. You know, like, Rakim. But
Tupac, Big.
yeah, but
Nas.
he's
Look,
been
we got to
consistently
end on
excellent.
this note.
What was that?
We had our producers put together a list of the greatest rappers of all time,
Yeah.
and they need to be slapped, man.
Oh, yeah.
What they got on there?
Kanye's not on this list.
Kanye need to be on that list. Come on now.
Kanye's not
Lil
on
Wayne
this
need to
list.
be on this list. I don't see.
He's Lil Wayne's on
Lil
there.
Wayne.
Kanye's not on this list.
And can we please take off?
Kanye, I apologize for our
Can we
Where's
staff.
Mac Dre at? We need some Mac Dre out there. Some Mac
Nine
Dre one
ain't
time,
on
some
here. Coming
E40, man.
You know what's not smart? Job boards that send you candidates that aren't qualified for the role you posted or send you a mile-high stack of resumes to sort through. But you know what is smart? Going to ZipRecruiter.com/speak to hire the right person. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter finds qualified candidates for you. Its powerful matching technology scans thousands of resumes to identify people with the right skills, education, and experience, and actively invites them to apply to your job so you get qualified candidates fast. That's why ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the U.S. This rating comes from hiring sites on Trustpilot with over 1,000 reviews. And right now, Speak for Yourself listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/speak. If you love this show, show your support to it and ZipRecruiter by going to ZipRecruiter.com/SPEAK. That's ZipRecruiter.com/speak. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. It's time to get antisocial. Whitlock and Wiley, joined by TJ Husmanzada and Eddie House. Time for my favorite segment of the show, our social media manager, Darnell Bling Bling Smith.
What's going on, fellas?
Pinky ring and all.
Y'all
The
good?
Whitlock changed.
Come on now, hey.
Nah, I ain't approve that.
You ain't approve that?
I ain't approve
Them
that.
checks clearing, though. Checks clearing. He's back.
Yes, sir. I finally got paid, baby.
Gator boo. Did it all,
All
right?
right, Darnell, what's happening out in Twitter land?
Yeah, man, let's get it going with everybody's favorite diva, Antonio Brown, who, despite all the year-end drama with the Steelers, seems to be living his best life right now after spending $500,000 on a watch, 2 gold rings, 5-carat diamond earrings, and a diamond chain. Y'all know Twitter tore him apart with people questioning his decision and comparing him to the likes of Mike Tyson, saying he'll end up broke. Y'all cool with AB's drip? I like it.
I'm gonna keep it. We know where you
Obvious.
Yeah, the youngest one here. I like it.
Look, man, I'm not gonna play the old man because I used to be young and dumb.
Yeah.
And I can remember, I think it was 1994 or 95. I got my first job in 6 figures.
Yeah.
And I went out and bought me a big gold chain, had it custom made. It said The League. Literally.
The League?
And it said The League, and it was for black dudes that made 6 figures legally.
I hope that didn't work.
Wore the chain twice.
Yes.
Put it in the drawer.
Yes.
And can't find it now. This was, this was 1994. So I've been young and dumb and blowing money.
Yeah.
He ain't young no more, though.
Yeah.
Nah.
I'm still young.
Yeah,
30?
he is, but he
30?
He's still going.
This is third contract. You do that on your first big one.
Yeah, well, look, I'm with you, Whitlock. I am not going to sit there and talk from a high. I used to floss to the best level. I did everything AB did, except there was no social media. So, one, people out there, you didn't know exactly what I had unless you were around me. But I remember one time I was out. Rolls Royce, right? Me in a Rolls Royce. Had one with me, about to go find another friend. We about to do this, right? Good night. My homeboy in the league was in the cab with 3 other friends. And I was like, wait a minute. That's the moment it hit me. I'm like, I am doing too much. He in the cab, and he winning more than me.
He got
And I
3.
the
He got a
Rolls Royce.
3-piece.
He got a 3-piece with a biscuit. So I was like, you know what? That's it. No more flossing.
And you was trying to get the 3.
Oh, I was
Right,
trying.
he was trying
It
every
wasn't
day he
working,
can.
though.
He got him in the cab.
He got him in the cab.
I mean, for me, I don't mind it. Everybody's gonna have fun. The jury part for me, that's never been a part of who I've never really worn it. But I'm not spending $500,000 on a watch. I don't care how much money I have. And then to put it on social media, that's just saying, come rob me, bro. Come get me.
Yeah, he flossing. I was never. I'm like you. I was never big on jewelry and stuff like that. But I ain't big on counting other people's bread either and how they want to spend their money. So if he wants to spend his bread like that and do it, then hopefully he has everything set up to where it's not going to hurt him later in the long run. Then, I mean, if that makes you happy, then go ahead and do it.
I would just want to be clear.
You earned it.
Young and dumb. The key word, I used to be young and dumb. It's not a smart thing to do.
No, it's not.
No,
Hopefully
not at
he'll
all.
grow out of
I
it.
used to have 8 cars.
mean, 30
now I got 1 and I don't even wash it. It's amazing how you evolve. Like, it's crazy.
He's 30. I don't think this is what he is. Who he is.
I agree with that. All right. Darnell, what's next?
All right, man. The Baseball Hall of Fame voting came in yesterday, and there's no surprise Mariano Rivera made it in. But take a listen.
You remember 5 years ago I told you I'd be making this phone call?
I don't remember what I did yesterday.
Well, I'm calling to tell you that the baseball writers have elected you to the Hall of Fame. Amigo, I have another piece of news.
Yes.
You are the
They let him get it out. They
knew
just
that.
knew what it was.
They knew it was coming.
He already knew.
knew what it was.
You guys surprised he was the first person to be unanimously voted in?
I'm not surprised. Yeah, I am surprised because there's so many guys that should have been unanimous. What, Ricky Henderson?
Oh, man, you got him on my list. That's my favorite athlete of all time.
Man, the bag, too, huh?
Willie
Ken
Mays.
Griffey.
And so when I
Hank
think of
Aaron.
the top 30,
Ruth.
40 baseball players of all time, great player, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, greatest reliever perhaps of all time. But the first unanimous, I'd have saved it for somebody better.
But in that list, and we all have the list, we heard it, who had a greater reputation and less competition at the position in terms of being the closer? Like, I think that's what put him over the hump. It's just like, okay, well, then you talk about position players. Well, there's this guy. And then what was his reputation? A lot of guys came out with their own flaws or whatever you want to look at it. So maybe he was just the perfect person for it, perfect candidate.
So he was Mike Tyson when he was knocking everybody out. Everybody know he come in the game, it's over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was lights out. He
Breaking
was lights
backs.
out. But the thing is, too, is not only he was lights out on the field, he was just a great person off the field. And I think dealing with the media, that also bodes well for you moving forward if you're going to get voted into the Hall of Fame, is you treat everybody the right way. They,
in New York.
Yeah, he played in New York. They're going to go ahead and put a check by his name for sure.
All right, Darnell, what's next?
Yeah, sticking with the Hall of Fame topic, where for the 7th straight year, Barry Bonds was not voted in. He reached 60% of votes for the first time, but was still short of the 75% need to get in. Social media was livid about the decision, saying that it was a total joke that arguably the greatest baseball player of all time still wasn't in the Hall of Fame. Barstool Sports tweeted out this long list of amazing stats from Bonds that, to me, makes it pretty obvious that he should be voted in. His votes keep going up every year, guys. You think he's close to getting in?
He's got 3 years left to do it. Then he goes to the Veterans Committee where he may not have a shot, or the Senior Committee where he may not have a shot. I think they're going to let him in on the 10th time. I think when it comes down to his last and final shot, he's going to get 75% of the vote.
Did he ever fail a test? Nope. No. So that's, I mean, look, we could guess all day. We could say, you looked the part, you played the part. And a lot of people say, even if he did take steroids, his body of work before the steroids was taken, he already was a Hall of Famer. So in that, I think they're going to make him wait, send a message to everybody, especially the new prospects, like, hey, we're not allowing this, but get him in. He deserves it.
Yeah, to me, it's a damn shame, really, to be honest with you. Barry Bonds seemed like he was either hitting a home run or getting walked when I was watching baseball. Hit a home run or get walked. And you talking, we just unanimous, he should have been that guy because he was by far and away the best player in baseball. It wasn't even close.
Right.
And, you know, the thing is they talk about the steroid use, right? He was never caught, tested positive. Yeah. We know that he used it or whatever. But the pitchers was on it, too. Now, that's giving them, they're able to, instead of taking out the 6th, 7th inning, they're able to go complete games. They got a little bit more bend on their curveball. Their arm is snapping back. That velocity on that fastball staying the same throughout the duration of the game. You still got to hit that baseball, and that's a damn hard thing to do.
Let's be clear, though. Roger Clemens isn't in the Hall of Fame either, and he certainly deserves it. Here's what I'll say, TJ, or Eddie and TJ and Marcellus, is before steroids, Barry Bonds was on pace to be a Hall of Fame baseball player. And we looked the other way, and he was like, oh, man, y'all letting Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire and everybody do this?
Get on it.
And so he said, you know what? I'll do it, too.
You can't take steroids for the hand-eye coordination.
No, you can't.
That's not.
How you know? You took them? A lot of people always say that.
Leading the league in walks and home runs is amazing.
Darnell, what's next?
Yeah, last but not least, Rob Parker was on the herd not too long ago and had a lot to say about the Patriots, so they decided to clap back on their Twitter page. Take a listen.
This is about Independence Day for NFL America. The reign of terror will finally be over.
Direction, Brady under center, a give to Burkhead, runs it left for the win! Touchdown! America's worst nightmare is back!
What if they do win?
I think I'm moving to Mexico.
Oh, man, do you guys like that the Patriots decided to clap back on FS1?
I love it both ways. Rob's having fun. The Patriots are having fun.
Right.
You got to remember it's a game. I like this kind of smack talk.
I love it, too, man. I ain't going to lie. I was a little jelly belly, too. I was like, damn, I want one. Like, troll me. But I'm not going to make up something against something I don't really believe. But if I'm wrong, come get me, baby. This is all fun.
For me, it's fun. If Rob, you need help moving to Mexico, man, man. If
You
I got
got
some
it.
time, I'll help you out. But it's all in good fun. The Patriot fans, they brutal, bro. I just got on social media, and I'm talking about man, they don't play. They don't play.
Play at your neck. Yeah, this was all fun, man. And Rob was a good sport with it. And if you're able to dish it, you'll be able to take it back. And that's what they're doing. So you have no problem with that. I think more organizations should do that if they see guys talking about them. They should troll guys. I think that'll be a good way to have a good relationship
You're seeing a lot more
between media and sports
Yeah.
franchises.
Yeah, build that relationship.
The
back.
Chiefs did it to Colin Cowherd. Somebody did it to Stephen A. Smith when he thought, somebody.
Oh, the tight end with Hunter Henry.
Henry.
Yeah.
I'm Jason Whitlock. He's Marcellus Wiley. Time to put on our thinking caps. TJ Houshmandzadeh and Eric Mangini are here as well. As you all know, I'm a journalist, and we've got our resident Ivy Leaguer, Columbia's very own Marcellus Wiley.
Yes.
All right, it's time to go deeper into a sports issue today, and we'll do that here in the Thinking Cap. But first, let's bring out Marcellus' special cap. Darnell.
Yes, thank you.
Oh.
And Oha, when is that Oregon State 30 for 30 coming out documentary? Anybody?
He gonna watch it too if they ever do it. He gonna watch it.
All right,
I gotta do it.
let's move to Kansas City, where the Chiefs fans are still reeling from another crushing playoff loss after the Patriots won without Patrick Mahomes ever taking the field in overtime. Some people started calling for a change to the overtime rules that would require both teams to get the ball. While Andy Reid says he supports the current rule, Mahomes' agent Lee Steinberg sounded a different tune, tweeting, quote, "Absurdity that two NFL teams play a game for the right to the Super Bowl to fight to a tie. The vagaries of a OT coin flip then grants to only one team the opportunity to score a TD and win without the other team touching the ball." Lee Steinberg, good friend of mine. I've known Lee since 1990. But Lee's wrong here. There's not a damn thing wrong with the NFL's overtime system. That's all I'm going to say for now. Who has a problem with the OT? How could you? What's
Here.
Go ahead.
And Lee Steinberg, my former agent as well. So I got nothing but love for Lee. And once again, we're in accord. The NFL rule right here, as I quote, states, no more than one 10-minute period will follow a 3-minute intermission. Each team must possess or have the opportunity to possess the ball. Each team, right? So a team is made up of what? 3 units: offense, defense, special teams. The way that the rule is right now, the way that the system has been implemented, you're only given 2/3 of that team an opportunity if you go down and score a touchdown. You have the special teams. You kick the ball off, special teams. And then New England says, hey, we got our offense out there. And KC says, our defense out there. But there's one other unit from both sides that didn't even touch the field. So if you think about it, why is it a 2/3 equation? How come you won't let the entire team in all 3 units get an opportunity to dictate what this outcome is going to be? How did you get to this place? In 60 minutes of regulation, you let all units play. You let all units go out there and show that this is what the outcome is going to be. Then you get into the moment of truth and you say, well, we'll just slice 1/3 of that unit away and see what it is. The equivalent in my brain is watching a boxing match for 12 rounds and it's a draw. And someone's like, no, we're not going home until we figure out who is going to win this fight. So they have a 13th round. You're like, oh! And then the ref gets in the middle and says, but you can't throw your best punch. They just went up to KC and said, in the 13th round, you can't put your offense and the NFL MVP out there on the field. To me, it's absurd. We're on the wrong side of history if we continue with this rule.
For me, I like it how it is. New England had 94 plays in that game. 94. You got 45 guys that suit up. In essence, they would have played 2 games worth of snaps in one game had Kansas City got the ball and gone down the field and scored. It's not enough bodies. The league has moved towards health and safety. This is going backwards now. Kansas City had an opportunity. You just got to stop New England. You just got to stop them. You got to.
That's not Kansas City, though.
You have to stop them.
They're Kansas City offense.
It's one of those things where if I'm a Kansas City fan, I want the rule change just off of this game. I would like that. It's not a bad deal.
Fan, I don't.
But health and safety reasons, stop them, Kansas City. You get the ball back. If not, it is what it is.
I'm fine with the way it is during the regular season. I appreciate the health and safety aspect, but in the postseason, there is no 10-minute period. They're going to play until the game's decided. So I think in the postseason, giving each team an opportunity to possess the ball would be a more equitable way to do it. And I don't think anybody would argue for health and safety in that situation.
You don't think the team the following week would be at an advantage for the team that won that game and had to accrue those extra snaps?
Win it in regulation. That's the way.
That's my point to the Chiefs.
But I'm saying if each team has a chance, because the OT is going to go until it's decided in the postseason. That's a difference from the regular season. So I'm fine with there being a difference of everybody gets a chance at least once to have the ball. You know, if it gets intercepted on the first possession and goes back for a touchdown,
Chiefs did have a chance to get the ball. Stop them on defense, and they would have gotten the ball. That's the game, Marcellus.
That's not their game. And look, why do you make an amendment to the rule, as Coach just pointed out, no more than a 1 10-minute period in a regular season? Oh, but you amend that part. Well, then finish amending it. Why do you have that each team can possess the ball, but you don't let each unit possess the ball? To me, if you're going to start abbreviating it, go all the way with
Marcellus, and Ross Tucker of the NFL Network, very smart guy, very competent guy on the NFL. I haven't been able to double check this, but he says the coin flip winner wins 52% of the time. There's a 2% difference. And we need to change the rule because there's a 2% advantage to winning the coin flip.
Yeah, because you have a number 1 offense and a number 31 defense. And the reason you're in this—
That's not New England's
their
fault.
I'm not saying that you changed the rule because of Kansas City. I say you changed the rule because this team was not multifaceted in terms of its dominance. It was led by its offense.
If they change the rule, they're going to have to expand rosters. It's hard. It's hard to play that many snaps with 45 guys.
Look, if you tap out at 94, you tapped out at 94. But if we got to go 108, we go on 108. Like, I'm not going to sit there and say health and safety in the playoffs, do or die. I'm doing. Or else we're dead. And I know that we're using this example because it's KC's offense and it's the NFL MVP on the sideline. But I don't care what team it is. We brought this all 3 units, this entire team. And then you're just going to get you a blade and say, slice. We only want you guys to dictate the outcome when all of you guys are the reason why we're in overtime in the first place.
Right, and if that 1/3 of the 2/3, as you've referenced, had stepped up and stopped it, then the other 3/3 of the team would have got on the field.
I love the math, but
5/3.
right? Absurd thirds. Like, there you go. Y'all know I'm right. Y'all know it's right.
It'd be interesting to see if anybody would be mad if Kansas City had won the toss and walked down and scored. Like, would there be the same level of outrage?
There would be joy
of
all
disappointment,
over America.
As it should be.
And it would be.
No, because look, you saw the best. Like, you don't want the best. The Super Bowl is about what's the best team. And then you want to see the best opponents, the 2 teams fighting for it. You want to see the best representation. We didn't see Kansas City represent itself to the fullest and to its best because of a rule that is archaic in this moment.
And Kansas City had 280-something yards the entire game. New England had over 500. So
New England was the better team, and Andy Reid sinned first. You can blame the NFL all you want, but Andy Reid started the game throwing his defense out on the field.
Yeah.
By choice.
Not in a do-or-die moment.
He won the coin toss and sent his worst unit out onto the field, and the Patriots for 8, 9 minutes stuffed it down their throat, took up 13% of the game, set the tone for a nightmare scenario, and now I'm supposed to – the rules are stated well before the game ever took off. If it goes to overtime, the team that scores a touchdown first wins. We knew going in what the deal was.
Yes.
And so just because we don't like the outcome and Patrick Mahomes didn't get to play in overtime, and love the Chiefs, love Patrick Mahomes, that damn defense needed to make a stop, hold them to a field goal, then their offense gets to play. It's called complementary football.
But where were you in 2009, 2010 when the rule was changed to this rule? Like, there was a moment where we saw the Tuck rule. We saw it with an NFC Championship game in New Orleans. We were like,
I didn't think it needed to change then.
We were like, wait a minute, that's not right. They just went down and kicked the field goal, drove for 40 yards, kicked the field goal, and the game's over. So we changed the rule. I'm saying there are moments in time where you use it to actually implement something new. And this is the moment.
Nobody's complaining about the way the New Orleans game worked out. I mean, we got it both ways. It worked out fine in that game. And really there is some justice in New Orleans getting the ball first. If it's 52% or 55%, you could say, okay, they had the blown call, but now they got the extra opportunity to go down and win the game without giving the Rams a chance. I'm fine within the postseason making sure that everybody has one opportunity to possess the ball. I don't think it's a health and safety issue at that point. I think there's a lot of other health and safety things that you can do during the regular season to offset the
Why does
the
health and safety not
possibility.
matter because it's a playoff game? Why?
It's not that it doesn't matter. It's that an outcome has to be determined. So because an outcome has to be determined, you can't be limited in the same ways.
Y'all all in y'all's 40s and young. The NFL overtime used to be about sudden death. That used to be the big thing, sudden death. And so they're trying to preserve sudden death, that on any given play, this game can end in overtime. A team scores a touchdown on their opening possession. It's sudden death. That's what used to be promoted. It used to be a big deal. They're trying to preserve that in overtime, every freaking play matters. Whether this team goes down, score a touchdown, because again, team goes down, score a touchdown. Now the other team goes down, score a touchdown.
Do you make them go for two? Do you make them everybody kick a 50-yard field goal?
Sudden
What
death.
is it?
Oh, you know what it is? It's like, hey, you guys are in a draw, and we want to see this fight, but you can't throw your best punch. And that's what happened. They told KC you can't throw your best punch, but win the fight.
New England threw its best punch, Tom Brady and that offense out there, and it knocked Kansas City out in regulation and again in overtime. Let's move to John Gruden and the Raiders, who are gearing up for what should be a busy draft this spring with 3 first-round picks. Some people are speculating that Gruden could have his eye on Heisman winner Kyler Murray after the coach praised the 5'9" Murray and said height should no longer be much of a consideration for quarterbacks. All right, you're talking to, I have a strict bias against short quarterbacks.
Ooh.
That's why I've never jumped on the Russell Wilson bandwagon full speed. I like 6'3" to 6'5" quarterbacks. I think John Gruden is crazy here. There's a couple of aberrations out here. Drew Brees, Baker Mayfield off to a nice start.
Yeah.
Those guys are aberrations. That's not the rule. And I know we've gone to the spread offense, and I know it's probably maybe a little bit better for short quarterbacks, but not much.
Had a good joke in there, too. You talking about you couldn't catch. I'm not on the Russell Wilson bandwagon. I know why you ain't on it. I ain't moving. You like, I ain't going to catch that thing. I'm stupid. Here's the thing. It's January 23rd, 2019, and the revelation John Gruden wants us to believe in is that now I'm going to trust my eyes. I'm actually going to grade football players on, can they play football? Whoa, that is like next level profound, which is making me laugh because talking about antiquated, talking about, did you watch Doug Flutie play any ever? Like Doug Flutie was told and exiled to Canada, but was balling up there, came to the NFL, had success, Pro Bowler, and people are like, yeah, but he's an exception. And then Drew Brees has done it forever. Another exception. Russell Wilson, what? Football players are football players, and I give you a case in point in my position. Jason Taylor, I keep telling you about this. He doesn't get enough credit, even though he's a Hall of Famer.
He's tall.
He was the first guy that I can remember. They used to hate on, he was a third rounder, which is kind of high, but should have been first rounder. I remember them at the combine and hating on him. He's a tweener. I don't know what position he's going to play. Can he play the run? He's too tall and too skinny. And I was like, are y'all watching him play? And so they would just grab the prototypical defensive end, 6'4", 280, could play both. And Jason Taylor not only had a Hall of Fame career, but all of a sudden opened the doors for Javon Curses and Mathis and all these other guys who didn't fit the prototype. The same thing is occurring at quarterback. Thank you, John Gruden, for coming to the right side of the history with this position. It's about, can you play it? And if you've been small, playing it well in college and winning the Heisman, you're going to be small in the pros, but you can play it well as well.
If you can play, you can play.
Thank you.
He's been a quarterback his entire life. He's been short his entire life. So he understands how to navigate through that. The system does matter. The other point is John Gruden doing this to make people think that he's interested in drafting Kyler Murray so somebody moves up in front of the Raiders and gives him a draft pick or whatever it may be. Could it be that? Kyler Murray has shown he could play. If he's in a right system, he'll be successful. You have to tailor your system to him because there are limitations when you're under center and you have to drop back and throw the ball. There's just no ifs, ands, or but you got to move the pocket or you got to be in the gun. But if you can play, you can play.
Buddy Ryan used to say there's a place for a good little man in football, just not in front of a good big man. And that's really true. So look, can little guys play in the NFL? Can guys that don't look exactly like you hope they look play and be very successful? Yeah, we see it all the time. Guys like Danny Woodhead or Darren Sproles or some of the slot receivers that we've talked about, they carve out roles. But probability, the odds, they're stacked against them. And that's I think what the group looks at when they're evaluating players is what's the percentage, the hit rate percentage, and decisions are often based off that. In terms of John giving him praise, he's pretty effusive in his praise of quarterbacks. Everybody has
Nathan
seen
Peterman.
the quarterback camp. So
Hey, they signed him though. He put his money where his mouth is, huh?
Right.
So I don't think that there's no harm in complimenting someone. It's a great thing. You can, it's easy. It's no skin off your back, and it's what he does.
I like the fact that you brought up the NFL is so risk averse. Like, I hate it when it came down to the modeling elements of the NFL. Do you look the part? You're like, damn, did you watch film? Like, who cares? And thankfully, I was, at the time, a prototype. I looked the part. Because if I didn't look the part coming from Columbia, they would be like, we can't look at your film. You don't look the part, you're done. And I would never had an opportunity. So when I hear coaches say, well, look at that guy. And we've been there at training camp when coach is like, ooh, look at him. Like, go to the front of the line. You're like, he deserves to be in the back of the line for a reason. Like, he looks the part, but he doesn't play the part. So we're still in that
But a lot of
place.
people have become millionaires betting on tech stocks, and a lot of people have gone broke betting on tech stocks. And then you have blue chips, and there's an element where people have made a ton of wealth and grown wealth by doing that. So I don't think you have to necessarily be completely risk adverse, but you need to take your shots within the context of the big picture.
Yeah.
6'3" to 6'4". That's your ideal quarterback.
Oh, really? Not 6'5", 6'6"?
Not
Oh, 6'5", you too tall.
That's too big.
Too tall. Play receiver.
Yeah, look, too tall. Brock Osweiler. There is a knock against too tall quarterbacks. I don't like it.
Should be in
Dan McGuire. Uncle Jimmy's here to help us talk about our approval rating for Cowboys receiver Cole Beasley. Uncle Jimmy,
Happy salt and pepper beard.
what you cooking?
Yeah, what you cooking?
First of all, y'all in my personal business, okay? You know what I'm saying?
I don't smell nothing.
I mean, right about now, well, see, that's because right about now, when you see this here, either I'm your chef or I'm your butcher or whatever. That way, when you see my number in your old lady's phone,
What's this, Happy Days?
Baby, you know what I'm there for, you know what I'm saying?
Look, Jimmy got that good meat.
Who still goes to the butcher? What year is this?
Yeah,
the butcher.
One of my partner's old lady.
Good meat.
Oh, you a snake, huh? All right.
In the grass.
Here's a highlight from our discussion earlier about Cole Beasley. We sit here day after day, year after year, talking about black quarterbacks being undervalued. Well, Julian Edelman and Chris Hogan are undervalued too. We talked about this some yesterday, but I'm going at it again today. I think these white slot receivers are just undervalued in the modern NFL.
I just thought you would go home and sleep this off. You're talking about the white slot receiver of New England? Stay white slot in New England. And as soon as you leave that system, not one person has shown that they can go out there and be a number one in any other system.
All right. Cole Beasley went after Jerry Jones pretty good here, and I believe white slot receivers are undervalued. Uncle Jimmy, what's your take?
Yeah, you just say that with a straight face.
Yeah.
Cole Beasley, Julian Edelman, Wes Welker, all of them got a clear case of discrimination against the NFL. The NFL has double standards. They require short, white wide receivers to run over the middle and take them big hits. They use them like they car crash test dummies or something. Now take Antonio Brown, OBJ, Julio Jones. They all get to run straight down the sideline and run out of bounds. It's called reparations, Jason. That's all for how they treated Doug Williams and all of the other great black quarterbacks before him.
Makeup calls.
Stop. Stop
You
it,
see?
Uncle Jimmy.
Well,
Stop
we know all about makeup calls. I'm serious.
Stop it, Uncle Jimmy. Stop it.
Yeah.
I got a lot of sympathy for Cole, for real. His thinking's ahead of the game. And people don't understand, they don't get it. I can relate to it. You know, folks look at me in a strange way.
You think?
Because, you know, I like big girls.
Here we go.
You don't just because y'all don't understand the value of a supersized woman. That adds a whole new meaning to the term breakfast in bed. the little shorty I'm seeing now. Hey, bro, she got a crock pot sitting on the nightstand. Boy, you don't know what making love is until a pot of gumbo become part of the foreplay.
Hey, chill with the details, man. Chill. You gonna get us fired, dog. Chill out, dog. No.
Ain't no shame to my game.
Oh, I hope.
You understand? Unfriend me.
Chill out.
You know? Hey, Uncle Jimmy ain't scared. I ain't never scared. I'm at the outside of the Golden Corral, and you think I'm a punk. I got my big heavy and my Chevy in her. She's really hungry and she wants some lunch. Hey, but we in the Chevy talking about, we ain't never scared. We ain't never scared. You know, and they be like, boy, Jimmy on that juice. Boy, get that free will motion. Boy, that's my girl getting ready to go to the Golden Corral. Boy. That's that love. Y'all know nothing about it. Thursday, they got that chocolate fountain working.
At all.
Amen all by my damn self.
Please.
Amen.
I want to get to my approval score before we get fired here.
Let's go back to work.
Cole Beasley
Man.
I'm going to give him a job performance of a 14. He was down this year. All-time greatness, I'm going to give him a 5. Cole Beasley put out his own rap album,
good rapper.
the autobiography.
Real good rapper.
Swole Beasley, so I'm going to give him a 5 for all-time greatness. Character, got him at a 20.
Right.
Authenticity, the whole rap thing works against him here.
Works against him? Why?
Vanilla Ice. I don't
here you go. You just pumped up the white receiver and they're going to bring down the white rapper.
Wait, but we
don't
found
do that.
one he don't like, Marcellus.
Oh, this dude.
What the heck?
That gives him props. He authentic. Like, he's staying true to what he loves, his passion. He like, forget what it looks
Total of
like.
56, he's a role player.
I got him in the same world, obviously, 59, but I thought you were going to pump him up. Cole Beasley, Whitlock. Cole Beasley is the face of the white discriminated slot receiver. Yeah, you got him at the same number as I do.
He's a role player.
Man, stop it. Oh, you
I
need
keeps
more.
it real.
You representing them too?
I keeps it real.
Oh, man.
You getting all the money, ain't you?
That's reparations. 56 is reparations.